So I start, or Juan Camilo?
You can start.
Okay, thank you, Camilo. Welcome to the panel 1, panel A of environment. I hope you had a good start of today. My name is Marco Geiger. I'm working for the the cluster for environmental technologies, Bavaria. And together with Sören Metz, we will moderate this session. And yes, we are very glad that we can support the AWAPA Summit today with this kind of environmental panels. And before we start, and yes, we have 1 hour right now, but before we start, maybe Sören wants to tell something about the questions, where you can put them during the speakers' presentations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marco. And also very warm welcome from my side, directly from Sao Paulo, from this beautiful city, connecting to this very nice event. And as you are all connected to the platform, you see that in this session, you have the chat button, and I already posted 2 messages there. One is the more welcome message, and the other one is that you can already post your questions. If you have any specific question during the panel, you can post the questions there. After each presentation, we will have the opportunity, or you will have the opportunity, to ask to the panelists directly the questions, and please write them down in this chat function of the session. That was from my side, and now handing back to Marco.
Perfect. So you know now you can ask a question in Jubileo Live to our speakers. And we start now. We have 5 speakers for the first panel. And the first turn will be for Mr. Mayer, our director of the Umwelt Cluster Bayern. And then we will see, we have 2 more members afterwards, and then I will tell you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Marco, for your introduction. Hello together. My name is Alfred Mayer. I'm the managing director of the Environmental Cluster Bavaria, and I'm very happy to be part of today's panel here. And so many people all over the world are now talking about sustainability, about the upcoming threats and challenges caused by the climate change. And insofar, I think we are very happy to be, let me say, part of this futural game to bring on forward by technical solution what's going on, what could be solved, some of these threats and challenges. And I'm very happy that 2 of our members are joining this session today, bringing forward some, from my point of view, very functional and effective technical solutions, especially in the water and wastewater field. So far, for the beginning, I'd like to give you a short overview of what's going on in the environmental cluster Bavaria, and I have prepared some slides, just a short overview, but I think it gives you an, let me say, roundabout impression. What's our, let me say, very purpose-driven task day by day. So I will start with the next slide. Okay, here you can see some facts. We talk about let me say we are now in the 15th year since our foundation in the year 2006. And as you see on the slide, we have 2 main objectives: sustainable solutions, to bring them forward, to develop it in all technical fields, dealing with environmental issues, and of course, especially for our members, mainly SMEs, to fostering their competitiveness and their innovation power, let me say. At the moment, we have around about 230 members within our cluster. 150, the main part are company members, as I mentioned a few seconds before, especially SMEs. And these 150 companies or firms have a close link to around about 80 other members from the scientific and public sector. And that's, let me say, enables a very fruitful combination of different expertises and competences. We're very proud to be supported from the beginning by the Bavarian Ministry of Economics. And of course, we have a very, very close link. And for instance, a common working program with the Bavarian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. And we're very proud to be regularly rewarded with a silver label of the European Cluster Excellence, which describes our way of bringing forward clusters policies and so on. Okay, another picture is what I'd like to concentrate your attention. First of all, we are covering, not really surprising, all clean tech sectors, from waste and recycling up to water and wastewater management, air pollution control, up to site remediation. We're covering all the, let me say, main clean tech sectors on the one hand. On the other hand, and that's very important from my point of view, the entire value chain is part of our cluster. All the different competencies which are necessary to install, let me say, a technical infrastructure all over the world. Of course, we are bundling a huge knowledge of different experts, as you heard a few minutes before, from companies, from research facilities, but also from public bodies. And of course, the panel today is a very nice symbol for our international global contacts all over the world. And it's very surprising that environmental technology is a global topic. And so far, we are very happy to have so functional and fruitful networks all over the world. Our main tasks are, let me say, represented by acting as a forum, as an innovation platform, and of course, we act as a launch pad to support our members entering interesting markets abroad. Okay, that's another symbol representing our way of acting in our cluster. We are using the so-called swarm intelligence. As you know, you'll never walk alone, especially in bringing forward international environmental infrastructure projects. You are never alone. You have to bring on forward such a challenge with competent partners, and insofar that's sharing know-how and know-who. It's one of our main interesting, let me say, rules within our cluster. Just a short overview at the end of my presentation. As you see, we are, and we will be very active in the region where we are talking today. Just give you some examples. We have, for instance, an interesting study, treatment of liquid waste in the tequila industry in Mexico. We have organized some delegation trips, inclusive site visits and meetings with mining companies, for instance, in Chile and Peru, for instance. We have organized different other formats, for instance, a water conference in Chile, together with our partners here in Santiago and Pucón. And of course, the South American continent is a very interesting one for our members, because there is so much potential of different, let me say, solutions we need to tackle the upcoming challenges and threats caused by the climate change. And insofar, let me say, we are an essential part in this community to contribute a hopeful and hopefully a very fruitful and effective input to solve all these problems. And insofar, I'd like to finish my short presentation with, let me say, an imperative: let's collaborate. You'll never walk alone. And insofar, I'm very happy to be part of this panel today, and I'm very interested in learning about the different activities of our two members following the next presentations. Thanks a lot for being here, and yeah, back to Marco again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayer. Perfect. Perfect leads to our two members. They will have two pitches. The first one will be from Mr. Alberto Torres. And I want to share the screen. Oh, Mr. Torres, you can share the screen too, I think. So maybe Mr. Mayer needs to stop this sharing. And then we can switch to the topic of, I will tell it already, to wastewater retreatment and its reuse. And that is a must for sustainable cities. So we will get some impressions out of Mexico from the managing director of the Huber company. And perfect, we see everything. You can start.
Good morning. My name is Alberto Torres, and as you presented, I'm the managing director of Huber in Mexico, and I will explain what we do and what we're working precisely to help sustainable cities. Here in Mexico, the sustainable city is really a new concept, something that is not really already in the minds of all people. So unfortunately, the politicians manage the situation and can push whatever side they want the solution for water environment. We have situations where the people had to vote if they need a wastewater treatment or not. I mean, you think that's ridiculous. I mean, every city needs a wastewater treatment plant. But here we have a situation where the politician request the vote of the people to justify a water treatment plant. So lack of education, information, and corruption is a really problem for development of wastewater treatment here in Mexico. Fortunately, well, at least we have basic wastewater treatment in Mexico. They still have a long way to go. And there's new science that they will push higher level of quality water. So that will give us more work to do. Here in Huber, we produce all the technologies to help the wastewater treatment plant, but it's not just the technology that help, it's the people, the education and for doing wastewater plants. Our company, well, is a German company for more than 150 years of existence. We have more than 50,000 equipment in the whole world, more than 500 in Mexico, including one in tequila that you mentioned before, to treat in tequila. And we have an office in Mexico City. So the question is, we have been living in this country, in this world for many thousand years, but we really started making wastewater plants 140, 150 years ago. Why? Well, we did ourselves our problem. We were contaminating our water, so we have a lot of problems to do. Here, the challenges for German companies in Latin America. First is environmental responsibility. That's a lot of importance. And it goes by hand to legal obligation, unfortunately. I mean, if there's no legal obligation, people don't do it. And it had to be, at this moment of the history, they need legal obligation to enforce or let the responsibility of environmental protection grows better. So that takes us to the citizens to be aware of what's going on. and have more transparent government, require more transparent process from the governments. Also in industry, a point of view is more important for seeing wastewater treatment as a part of the business, not an extra cost, as something that I had to do because somebody requirement that's going to cost me more. It's just we had to fight for the business today. They see as it's part of my business to treat the water, not to drop wastewater. And one of the solution is to see wastewater as a resource, okay, not as a problem, something that we can use and save money. And also in solution for good solution, not just cheap solutions that for the long run. The wastewater industry and community are interrelated. Basically, they start with the same source of water, and then they use it for the normal uses of each entity. They have the waste, they should have the wastewater, and sometimes they interchange wastewater from the city for the industry to use. But ideally, it can be closed system where we can reuse the water, discharge treated water, and also the solids or biosolids that are product of that wastewater treatment. So that could be an ideal solution for a sustainable city, and it could be done. In Hoover, we provide solution for all these around the pretreatment, energy, sludge, tertiary treatment, all around the wastewater plant. We have technologies to help, like machines, like screens, like sludge machines, etc. A lot of solutions. Also for industry, the same thing. There's different technologies for industry, but we have that for that. This is a nice case of success here in Mexico, where a manufacturer of wood panels have very polluted water, and with the right technology, they go all the way around until we go to practically potable water, because we go to reverse osmosis at the end. So the cycle is closed, where they can use the water again for the process and have sludge for some biosolid production. And it's a very interesting case that we have here in Mexico. You can see this is the graph of statistics. So how many cubic meters per second are treated in Mexico, in the country. And you can see it as a nice growth in the last 30 years, nice exponential growth. But sadly, we still have a lot to do. And of all what is treated right now, we only in the municipal, we're treating about 50%, 60%, and industry less yet. So that's also a challenge and an opportunity for all new professionals in the field that work hard, and not just in Mexico, but I think in Latin America, to solve this problem. So that's basically my presentation of sharing a brief picture of the wastewater things in Mexico and how we can manage to do it.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. Thanks a lot. We will have, after the next talk, a little discussion round. So if you have some questions to this pitch of Mr. Torres, the next one or the before, write it down into the chat. Sören will manage them for later. So now we will come to the next pitch of Mr. Stefan Karik from BVS. It's also a member of our cluster, and they are the representatives in Latin America of us in Mexico. So I think we will get some inputs of projects from Mexico again. So Mr. Karik, it's fine. I can see everything. You can start.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you also hear me? Very good. Yes, thank you very much, Alberto, for your great presentation. You did a good introduction to the situation in Mexico. So now I can skip that part. And thank you also, Alfred, for your introduction and your presentation. Yes, my name is Stefan Karik. I'm an environmental engineer, and I'm the managing director of BWS Anlagenbau und Service in Mexico, and most recently also for our company in the USA. We are based in Puebla, Mexico, and what we can see here in the slide is our history. We come from the Bauer Group in Schrobenhausen, Bavaria, and today we are still representatives of Bauer, of the Bauer Group in Mexico, and also we are the representatives of the Umweltcluster Bayern. We are also present, as I said, in Germany, Mexico, and the US. And we do mostly, or our core business, especially in Mexico, is the water and environmental services. We also offer a lot of other solutions for the industry, as they are our main clients. So we have developed also other business units like steel structures, automotive production engineering, automation, assembly, project and management service, lifting technology, and conveyor systems. But our core business is still the water treatment and the environmental services. In water treatment, we do engineering, assembly, and commissioning of plants, plant optimization, spare parts, maintenance, and training. Our expertise is in process water, drinking water, industrial wastewater, recycling, and also some special solutions. And our markets are the automotive industry, food and beverages, chemical and oil and gas, and pharma, etc. In the business unit of the environmental services that go beyond water, we do design and construction of wells, geohydrological modeling, waste management, recycling and waste to energy, alternative energies, remediation of contaminated soils and aquifers, also here special solutions. And we are the representatives of the environmental cluster of Baviera in Mexico. Today, I want to focus my presentation in one project in which we worked together with German companies, and that would be the revitalization of the ex-refinery in Azcapotzalco, Mexico City. It is a former refinery that had a lot of contaminated soils, 55 hectares big, almost the whole 55 hectares had some kind of level of contamination. This picture up is the picture of viewing of this refinery after it was deconstructed, and here we can see some details of how it looked before it was revitalized. It was a project that was taken from 2007 to 2009, and 2010 a park was inaugurated on this premises. It is called the Parque Bicentenario. At the first, they estimated the costs of the decontamination at $15 million US, and at the end, the decontamination costed $75 million US, and I think it was much more. What we did there was to extract soil vapor, contaminated soil vapors from a contamination from gasoline. So the first step was to determine if it was ever possible. So we just sent a small team to make some holes in the soil, and then extract the soil vapors, then treat them and look at the reaction in the surrounding soil. Then this made the basics for the planning of the whole area. So we drilled 72 holes, 72 wells to extract soil vapor with contaminated with gasoline, and then we sent them through activated carbon filters The plant looks like this. It has a lot of valves. These valves, they are all connected to the wells and are extracting via these hoses the soil vapor and treating it through activated carbon. Just a quick overview, we have the well, it goes through, we take the water out of the soil vapor, and then we send the vapor through the through the activated carbon filters, and then it goes out as cleaned air. With this technology, we treated a very big portion of the ex-refinery in Mexico City, and now they build a park on it. Here's that's also the end of my presentation. These are our partners, the Umweltcluster Bayern, RH Umwelt also in Bavaria, Bauer Resources, and this is another company that helps us with lifting technology. Any more questions about our company or our projects, you can direct them directly to me. This is my email address, also my phone number very at the end. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward for your questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Karik. I will look to Søren if we have some questions directly.
Actually, we have two. One is from Juan Camilo here from the organization panel, and he is asking for all of the former three panelists now, what are the challenges for the implementation of ambient or environmental technologies in Latin America? This is, I think, who wants to start? A very broad question. Maybe Stefan, if you may, because you are already presenting something which is a very specific project and where you were involved from the preparation phase into the execution phase. What would you say were the biggest challenges?
Well, one big challenge is financing of the projects. For example, this big project in the ex-refinery in Mexico City was only possible because the government decided to do something about it and brought the financing to do the works. Of course, what also Alberto was telling is very important. We have very good laws in Mexico for environmental, but what is a big problem in Mexico is not the laws by themselves, but the agencies that have to look that these laws are actually followed by anybody that is contaminating our rivers or our soils. And it's not that they don't want, but there's also now the funding, because they do not have enough people with the right preparation to do it. And it's not because we don't have engineers in Mexico. It's because these agencies that have to do the compliance of our laws do not have enough people to do it, and they can't prepare them well. That's that I would say that's the main issue from where we can start.
Perfect, Stefan. And I think
Alberto, yes.
You did it perfectly, because you already answered my question, because I was very curious in who financed this project.
Yes.
So we have two other questions. Marco, I think we are a little bit short of time, but let's, Sergio wants to know from an HR perspective, technical, financial, politics already hard. What strategy methods would you suggest to prepare the people for this change? Maybe Alfred, Alberto, if you want to join us.
Sure. Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, is the education of the people is very important. I mean, people to be aware of the situation is fundamental. in one wastewater plant that we had in the past, we had a lot of political problems, but we implement a visit to the wastewater plant, take kids from the schools to wastewater plant to the city. And in the long run, it really helps because the kids start telling their parents about the importance of the wastewater treatment plant, and that helps a lot. So that's a key factor, education of the people in environmental situation, because they sooner or later, they will not request, they will push for not content pollution of the environment. So that's a key part. But financing is also important. I mean, but if we see the water as a resource, I mean, using the water and see it as a money-making solution. I mean, instead of paying for fresh water, you pay for wastewater, treated water. It also gives you a part of the solution for this financing solution. So that's important factors.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alberto. And I think this answers Sergio's question, especially when you see this from a very much broader HR perspective, where you have to involve the community which is benefiting from this project. And we have a last one, and then I will hand over to Marco. Aura wants to know, how's the biomass evaluation project in Cali operating with Cluster de Bioenergia Cali? And I think this goes to Alberto and Alfred. Or more to Alfred, if I'm not mistaken.
How do you finance?
Now, how's the biomass evaluation project in Cali operating? How is it operating? For the question, maybe Aura can clarify a bit more.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you, Søren, for transferring the question. What I can say, it was, let me say, a very fruitful consortium existing of 2 members from the environmental cluster here in Bavaria, and 2 others on the Colombian part. And we have let me say, a close link to research institutes too here. And at the moment, let me say, we have finalized phase 1 along our, let me say, roadmap, and at the moment we hope to start phase 2 by, let me say, July next year maybe, or a little bit later. It depends on, let me say, the second portion of funding, because just I'd like to point out, in phase 1 we have let me say, certain kind of support and funding by the German Ministry of Research and Development, in order to, let me say, to start the project, to organize some travel visits and so on, which would be very, let me say, difficult without any funding here. And so far, it's quite typical for such projects. You can start with such a project based on a certain kind of funding, but for the next steps, you have to look for, let me say, permanent business models behind. But generally spoken, the need of such a biomass using is quite fruitful, because the potential is very big here, and insofar we keep it on mind to bring on forward together with our Colombian partners such a project. Mm-hmm. That's
thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, Aura. I think that will have place at the end of the panel. We have in 1.5 hours again a question round. So I think we have now a good switch to the finance, research, international cooperation topic of the next one. Agustina Gualdoni will tell us something about the opportunities in this sector within the European research and innovation projects, and with a focus, I think, on circular economy. But we will see. She is scientific officer at the Bavarian Research Alliance, BIFOR, and they have a lot of topics. And I think now we will get more infos about the Horizon Europe part for, yes, cooperations between Europe and Latin America. I see everything. You can start. Perfect.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And yeah, I think it was a great switch also to my part of today's presentation. As was said, my name is Agustina Gualdoni. I'm a scientific officer in the unit of Energy, Environment and Bioeconomy at the Bavarian Research Alliance. And I will talk to you today about the opportunities for international cooperation within European, especially European research and innovation funding. I put it a little bit broader for green topics in general. So I would like to start with a brief introduction of the Bavarian Research Alliance. Our abbreviation is BIFOR, and we are partly a state-financed institution. We see ourselves as a full service provider when it comes to European funding programs. So basically, we provide services from the information, for example, for current and also future calls in the European programs. We provide advisory services, for example, when it comes to specific call information that is needed, or also assistance regarding the matching of the project idea with funding schemes, for example, which is also often cause a little bit of difficulties for our clients. Also the EU application support, which I will talk about in a second. The project implementation we also provide as a service for our clients, which basically covers the grant agreement preparation if, for example, a project proposal was successful. And then we also have project management services, which is only available basically if the project coordinator is located in Bavaria. And then we also offer to go into the project basically as a project partner and to cover all the project management tasks that are needed in the project. This is also a prerequisite of ours since we are state financed. Our prerequisite is basically to have one Bavarian partner in the consortium and able to be able to support the whole group with our services, which are then for free. So we are divided into different thematic units. As I said, I work in the unit for environment, energy, and bioeconomy, but we also have, for example, biotechnology, we have social sciences and humanities, we have the MINT topics covered in a unit. So really a lot of topics, basically all the topics that you can find in the European research programs we have in-house, and all of our colleagues in the different units can help you with each specific area. Then we have 3 offices. One, the main one is in Munich, where I'm located as well. We have one in Nuremberg and we have one in Brussels. And our core part basically of our work is the EU application support, where we really help with the whole process of a proposal development, basically. So it can be from really conceptualizing the project idea to maybe also supporting the consortium with finding the appropriate partners, not only European partners, but also international. Tasks like this, all revolving the proposal process in itself, but also it could look like a proofreading service that we can offer to our clients. So this is basically what we do and how the Bavarian Research Alliance is made up. And our day-to-day work basically is revolves a lot around the Horizon Europe program, which you may or may not have heard about the new Research and Innovation Framework Program of the European Union. So maybe some of you have heard or have experience already with Horizon 2020, which was which Horizon Europe is the successor of Horizon 2020, basically. Horizon Europe started now this year, beginning of this year in January, and it will last for 7 years, as also the other past framework programs of the European Commission, and it's actually the largest one. So the budget has actually increased, so it's now about estimated 97 billion euros, and we really hope to have a lot of great projects also coming to Bavaria, or with a Bavarian participation, and of course a Latin American participation. That would be our goal. And well, for those of you who know Horizon 2020, just for your information, and to kind of not make you scared about Horizon Europe, because I think a lot of people are have a little bit of respect towards these really great and big project proposals of the European Commission. It's rather an evolution than a revolution. So it's really on the core principle is on continuity. It's on simplification and really less bureaucracy, and making it easier actually for applicants to really engage in Horizon Europe calls. The objective is always to really have a strengthening in the scientific and technological position of the European Union, and also to really create a tangible impact in Europe and beyond. So the impact is really core of the Europeans' mission with this new framework program, and also, of course, a strengthening of the innovation capacity, the competence, and always it's about creation of work. This is the general structure of Horizon Europe. I'm not going to go into detail. It's just for you to have somewhat of an orientation. It's basically 3 pillars. That's the way Horizon 2020 was also structured. Pillar 1 is more focused on excellent science and more the individual science. For those of you who know ERC, for example, or Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, for example, that are really focused on individual excellence. Pillar 3, on the other hand, is really about innovative ideas, innovations close to market. And what I will be focusing on is Pillar 2. This is what our focus is about. We have different clusters now. It's called clusters newly now in Horizon Europe. And you can see that it's basically divided into different thematic areas. You have health and also food. I will talk about later of cluster 5 and 6, digital industry and space, for example, and so forth. So just as an orientation, and now as today is also about Latin America, I wanted to show you a little bit about the Latin American countries in Horizon Europe and how you can participate in Horizon Europe if that would be of interest for you. Basically, Horizon Europe is really promoting itself and prides itself of being open to the world. So it's not only for European member and associated states, it's also open to Europe and beyond, basically. The institutions from third countries, for example, can participate most of the Horizon Europe calls, most of the consortia, as long as the minimum consortia criteria are met, which means that we need at least three partners from 3 different states, at least 1 European member states, and the associated member states. So, but this means also that beyond these minimum criteria, also most of the Latin American and Caribbean countries are included and can participate in consortia, which I really hope you do. And if you have questions regarding this, please contact me at any time. Regarding this, I also want to mention still, as you can see, the big exclamation point here, there are some exceptions. Newly, the exception Chile and Uruguay are now not longer eligible for funding. The exceptions are Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and Uruguay now. So for these countries, the participation basically is at own cost. That's one option. The other option is basically if there's an exceptional reason why a partner from these countries would be included in the consortium, for example. This could be the case if the country is explicitly included in the work program or in the specific call that you are applying on, or if the granting authority considers the participation of the partner of really essential character for the project. For example, that could be if they have an existing research infrastructure that is necessary, if they have specific data that is necessary for the project. So these are all options for Latin American countries. If the participation is at own cost, please, you can also always contact your national government for other funding opportunities, and then basically your part would be covered from the national government. This is maybe just for you an interesting data from Horizon 2020. I just wanted to show that there was participation already in the last 7 years, which is really, of course, some good news that we're really happy about. Above, you can see basically the overall indication. So budget was 65 billion, for example, for the whole Horizon 2020. And the EU contribution for Latin American countries was 57 million euros, which is considerate. And I think it's a really good sign. The participation is a little less than 1,000, and also the signed grants with participation from Latin American countries was a little less than 500. I think these are good numbers, but I'm really happy to participate today and try to increase them a little bit for Horizon Europe. That would be a great goal for me. So where to find green topics is basically Cluster 5 and Cluster 6, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. Cluster 5 is really focused on climate, energy, and mobility, so really big thematic aspects. Cluster 6 also a lot of different areas combined with food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. And just to give you a little bit of an insight, but if you are interested in these topics and the calls for these specific clusters, I really welcome, or I really would advise you to visit the Funding and Opportunities website from the European Commission, where you can find all the really great and varied calls for each cluster here and for each destination below this. So Cluster 5, for example, it really is about creating a climate and environmental friendly, really smart and resilient infrastructure when it comes to specifically looking at really big areas such as energy and mobility, for example, where you can really create a really great impact. If you tackle these areas, to really look and understand the impacts and the opportunities that you can maybe potentially seize from looking into energy and mobility sectors. It's about aiming really for climate neutrality in Europe by 2050, which also goes hand in hand, of course, with the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and zero pollutions, and ultimately really leading to the European Union being a global leading actor in this sustainability technologies. Cluster 6 also combining a lot of different areas. As I mentioned earlier, it's really about a transition into a circular economy and a sustainable bioeconomy. And it tries to do so by really creating or achieving a transformative change, not only for the economy, but also the society. This is really important for Horizon Europe to tackle these two sides equally, basically, not only the economy, but also really engaging the society and engaging with the society and citizens. And not only in urban areas, but also rural areas, really halting biodiversity, protecting biodiversity, achieving food security and food and nutrition security, and implementing more digital and innovation aspects in the areas of agriculture, forestry, fishery, and aquaculture. If you're interested in this cluster, please go ahead, as I said, and take a look at the work programs. Here I brought with me some examples where either Latin American cooperation is encouraged or international cooperation is encouraged. So the European Union with the call text, you really have to pay attention to each word in the call text, basically, because they always show you a little bit of where the European Union wants you to go with the call. So I brought these examples with me for cluster 6, the above ones. This is where specific Latin American cooperation is encouraged. For example, if you take the last one of the upper ones, the one Horizon cluster 6, 2022 communities topic, assessing the sociopolitics of nature-based solutions for more inclusive and resilient communities. There, for example, in the call, it is stated that in order to achieve the expected outcomes, international cooperation is strongly encouraged, in particular with the Latin American and Caribbean region and the USA. So this gives you an indication Latin American partners need to be on board to really achieve the outcome and be successful and really get the successful evaluation from the European Union. So this is, for example, a way where you can take a look at the specific calls where you are interested in and look for example, Latin American cooperation that is specifically mentioned in the call text. Here, I just wanted to briefly mention 2 of the projects where we also supported. This first one is Smarter Together. Here, we were actually a project partner. Smarter Together is a European Union funded project to basically pilot groundbreaking smart city solutions. It is, or it has already ended beginning of this year, but it was turning Munich, Lyon, and Vienna as lighthouse cities, basically into laboratories for the European city of the future. And there were some follower cities, as you can see here, the blue ones in the map, for example, Santiago de Compostela. And we had here different components, for example, mobility, technology, and energy. In the mobility area, for example, there was some introductions of e-bikes, of car sharing opportunities, for example. The energy aspect covered, for example, holistic refurbishment of newly but also existing housing, of the integration of smart house components, of the use of photovoltaic units, for example. And then in the technology part, really the integration of a smart data platform, and an app was developed to really be able to combine all of these areas. With, in the middle, you can see the citizen engagement, which is of course really relevant if you want to succeed with such a proposal. We had, for example, co-designing workshops with the society. We had urban living labs, for example, and so forth. The second one I think might be familiar for the Umwelt cluster. It's Free to Climate. Here there was, or the aim is, it started this year, the aim is for clean biofuel production and phyto remediation solutions from for contaminated land worldwide. Actually, there were 5 pilot sites, and I think I just wanted to briefly mention it because I think it's really a nice example that you also had a site in Argentina, in La Planta, in San Juan. And there, this was an abandoned gold mine where contaminated land was, or is going to be, the aim is to further remediate the soil and convert the products into biofuel, basically. I hope I didn't take too long. Thank you very much, and happy for your questions.
Thank you, Agustina. Yeah, we are a little bit over time, but we will manage it. I think we will skip now the question and answer session at the end and start directly. I think if Søren, yeah, he's giving me the sign that it's okay that we can make the question afterwards he collected. Thank you for that. First now, Agustina, there's a sign officially again. So now I will switch directly to Mrs. Angelica. If she's already there, you can start to share the sheets. Yes, I see you. And I will start now with, yes, the topic will be also circular economy again, projects in Santander, but in Colombia. And we will hear something from the waste to the wealth. So please, Angelica, it's your turn. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I'm an environmental engineer and I did my master and my PhD project in Germany. Now I'm working with those projects related with circular economy in Santander area, from waste to wealth. And the idea for today is to share with you some successful projects that we are developing now. Next one, please. Yeah, a really small concept, what is about circular economy. We have really a lot of benefits. We are sharing some benefits, 2 slides later after that. But now we want to replace this linear economy in production now for the optimization of products and materials that we have, not only the optimization of these materials and products, but also the recirculation of these materials, not producing waste and reuse everything. And this is the concept that we are applying in the projects that we are developing now. Next, please. Yeah, this is a comparison between the linear economy and what is the circular economy. When you have the linear economy, you have the input of raw materials and you can have resources scarcity, and then when you have the product, and have a lot of waste generation, contamination, and by the use of these products are really designed to be discharged and to impact the environment. And with the circular economy, what we are seeking is that we have a recirculation of those materials, reducing the input of raw materials and reducing also the cost and the use of energy and water consumption, and reducing also the contamination of waste in the environment. The next, please. The situation in our Colombia and Santander specifically, also you can see in the map of Colombia. In Colombia, in general, we have almost 40% of the gas emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions that is producing by agriculture, and also by cattle. And this is a problem that we are facing right now, especially in the Santander area. As you can see in the Colombian map, is marking by a red color that indicates that the greenhouse gas emissions are higher in this area. But we also have another problems because with our economic growth, we have a really higher mass consumption that lead us to increase our volume of waste, and we are recycling less than 10% of our waste in this moment. And we have lower separation of those materials for lower recycling, and our landfills are heading to this maximal capacity. So this is the problem that we are facing right now. Next, please. That's why we want to to look for those benefits that support the circular economy. Economic benefits like cost of raw materials that are lower, the sale of byproducts that they can be generated in different types of economies, and create new markets. And also in social area, we can have the creation of new businesses, also new capacities for people, new employment, and we have also benefits, environmental benefits like reduction and extraction of raw materials, use of renewable energy sources, and reduction of waste and emissions. The goals in Colombia is to increase or less than 10% of the waste that we are producing. So our goal is to increase this rate of recycling, but also to increase the percentage of the solid waste that is separated, and decrease the percentage of hazardous materials that we are producing, and reducing the greenhouse gases. Next one, please. With this in mind, we have this pilot plant project for the cultivation of shiitake mushroom using agricultural byproducts, especially products from the cultivation of organic coffee. This is a project that we are together with my colleague Yolanda Gamarra from the university, and we have the support of the Cámara de Comercio de Bucaramanga. They are helping us to financiate this project. We are using the next one, please. If you see in the next slide, we see the production of a coffee bean, and we have 3 areas where we can collect different byproducts. In the skin of the coffee cherry, and we have the remaining byproducts that we can mix even with the wood related with the cultivation of the coffee, also to inoculate the shiitake mushroom and to grow it in this media. The next one, please. That's why we are generating this kind of a pilot plant. In the image of the left, you can see the inoculation of the mushroom, and in the right, you see the pilot plant is a controlled environment. We designed it especially for the cultivation, not only for shiitake mushroom, but all another edible mushrooms. But this plant has different sensors to increase or to in order to follow temperature, CO2, light in the room, and also is programmed, or you can program this space in order to seek the best conditions for the mushroom to grow. And our aim is also in the future to technify this plant in order to have less consumption of energy, and use solar panels and green roofs to decrease also water and energy consumption. This is the first project. The second project that you can see in the next slide is the project where I am right now. Next slide, please. Thank you. The next project is related with agricultural farming, integrated farming model. In the municipality of Charta, Santander, there is the municipality where I am right now. In this moment, we are in a visit to this municipality of Charta. I'm here right now. And this project is financed with Alianza Biocuenca, Mi Páramo, and with the help also with the Swiss and German government, and also the Colombian government and other organizations that you can see in the list. What we are seeking with this project is to get to the rural areas, to help them with different topics. For example, the soil management, to tell them, okay, we are helping them taking soil samples, analyzing them, and seeing what is the condition of the soil. And also we are helping them, telling them, okay, you are producing different kind of waste, and with this kind of waste you can generate this kind of compost that you can use in your areas, cultivation areas, and also preserving that way the landscape and conserving these areas. They are very important. Next one. Yeah, you are seeing there the work that we are doing in this area, in this municipality of Charta, that we are always chatting with the people and helping them to correct some practice that they are doing normally in cultivated areas, and also helping them to know more the soil and the conditions of the soil, to help them to improve them with a natural compost. Next one, please. Like I said before, these are our pillars for this project. Like the first one is the soil management, and with the soil sampling, we are helping them to know the soil characteristics and soil chemical and physical properties in order to maintain them or improve them. Also, we are helping them with knowing their crop health and maintaining this crop health. Together, of course, with the soil management. And also in this matter, we are helping them to get in their areas landscape and conservation of their resources. And also with, we are helping them with the planification and orientation and organization of all the planning. Next one, please. Finally, I wanted to share important information about sustainability indicators. It's not only to go there and make some talks or just do some projects, but also it's important to have this kind of indicators to relate this kind of calculations with the sustainable goals. For example, we can calculate the water consumption or the raw materials consumption, energy consumption, and the waste generation, how many products are recycling, and the CO2 emissions. This for the environmental sustainability goals that they are related with those indicators that that tell us how is the improvement of this environment related with the calculation of each one of those. Also is the same for the social indicators and also the economical indicators. So we have the calculators for example, for the economical part, related with the productivity, the water consumption and productivity, as well as the energy. And also the social pillar is also, we can calculate, for example, how many people are directly related with this kind of projects, for example, for generating new jobs and new strategies for the people to get more knowledge of their regions. So, and what they can do with their resources. So this is really important. With this slide, I think I'm finished with my presentation. I hope that you like these two projects that I presented today. Thank you for the attention. And yeah, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Angelica. Perfect in time. We have now around 5 minutes to switch from panel A to panel B. So Sören will decide how many questions we can offer you now. So if Agustina and the others want to come back to the podium, maybe there are some questions. Otherwise, we'll see. Sören?
Yeah, thank you very much, Agustina, because you were quite active in the chat already. You were responding the question which our colleague Andrea Moreno had. And then we have another one from Lindsay. She's asking, thank you all for the presentation and the knowledge shared. My question is for Angelica. Angelica, are you still with us? Yes, she is. From an economic and social point of view, how the farmers of the territory can be benefited? Are they kind of embedded? You already told us that you share your knowledge about composting and what kind of compounds.
Yes. Yeah, because they are generating different kind of residues in their farms. And what we are doing is in our labs, we are creating what is the best formulation for the compost related with the residues that they are producing. So then we will say to them, okay, you have this kind of residues or waste, and then you can produce this best formulation for your compost. So they can choose if they use this compost for their own benefit or if they want to sell them for other farmers in the region. So that's why we are creating new direct or indirect jobs in that matter.
Yeah, thank you very much. And maybe Agustina, I think it was very interesting what you put in the chat as well about the small and medium-sized option for small and medium-sized enterprises to join Horizon Europe calls. Maybe you could elaborate a little bit on the Enterprise European Network, EEN.
Exactly. Yeah, the Enterprise Europe Network, it's basically the largest network or consultancy network for SMEs. And I was just putting the link for everyone who's interested, not only for the national contact points, but also for SMEs. For example, there are 2 links in the chat that I posted where you can find country-specific contact points. I think this is really valuable, not only if you're looking at advisory and check out the national contact points, but also for SMEs, as I said, the Enterprise European Network, they have a lot of information in there and they have country-specific offices. So this is, I think, a really good address if you need help.
Perfect.
And I also put my email address if anyone wants to contact me afterwards.
Yeah, Juan Marco, I think if from our side, I think that's it. Then we have 3 minutes.
I don't know.
Marco.
So if you want, we can have 10 minutes more before the beginning of the next panel. And Sören, Marco, if you want to make some questions.
Okay, but I think, thank you, Juan. But I think we are fine we have the addresses, and to be in time for the next panel B, what I think 1650 was planned, we will switch now to the panel B. I say thank you to everybody here.
Okay. We had already announced that we will be beginning with some delay the other panel. So
okay.
But yeah, as you want.
We'll switch, I think, and we are a little bit earlier than there as preparation for the other ones. I would say thank you to Agustina, Stefan, Alberto, Sören vor allem, and Juan Camilo for the support in backwards, and Angelica. If something is now to discuss, or somebody wants to have the address, you can put it now in the chat here in Jubilobat, and otherwise we see each other in the next panel, and there's also room for next discussion afterwards. So you're also invited to link you in afterwards in the panel B again, I would say. Okay.
I have one last question. How many spectators did we have?
More than 50, I think, right now.
150?
No,
more
50.
50.
Like 52, 53, yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Nice to meet you all.
And see you at session B now.
Yes.
Thanks for the moderation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.